I wasn't just a black girl born in northern Nigeria. I was a black poor girl born in northern Nigeria.
How are you able to keep that belief of self that my voice do count and it's going to make a change in this world?
I am so persuasive. Like, I am really, really persuasive. I don't know how I do it, but I'm able to say the right things to get the right reaction.
Her name is Hafsat Abdullahi, but she's known to millions as Havfy, a poet, writer, youth advocate, and Recording Academy member.
There's this societal expectation of women and men, and I think that helped me to want to go against what the societal norm was. Nigeria is a conservative country, but the North takes the conservativeness to takes it a little higher. Like a societal standard for how both male and female are supposed to act. There's a societal expectation of women and men.
From the classrooms of Nigeria to the world stage, Havfy has used her voice to challenge stereotypes, inspire change, and remind us that poetry is not dead. It is alive, and it can move nations.
Change begins when you start to talk about it and you get other people to talk about it. As crazy as you will sound, you've planted a seed of possibility inside someone, and they'll go home and they will think about it. So my first attempt at advocacy or unofficial advocacy was with my friends. When we talk, why is it like this and why is it not like that? Why can't I do this and why can't I do that?
As a young person, when we trying to look for what our talent is, we are just curious, trying different things. So how did you know that, okay, spoken words for me?
I started as a prose writer. I was a big fan of Chimamanda. I wanted to be like Chimamanda.
Fiction writer.
Yes, fiction. I wrote a lot of fictions. I wrote a lot of stories. And most of those stories were handwritten. Even my first ever prize as a teen author was for a prose work, not for poetry.
Her journey is one of resilience, courage, and unshakable belief in the power of words. This is Havfy.
Going against what I am supposed to be, and becoming everything I am not supposed to be, is what made me who I am. So I'm grateful for the experience. It's not rosy, but I'm grateful. I'm living in such a way that my success is needed to open the portal for the newer generations to come. Right now, I'm living it. I'm walking my talk. Before I was talking it, I was complaining. Now, being able to live it has made it seem possible.
Hello guys, do you know that 95.7% of people that visit our channel are not yet subscribed? Leaves us with only 4.3% of subscriber. That's a 0.9 increase since the last time we started creating. Please, your subscription does us a world of good. It helps us create better and invite better guests. Please like, share and subscribe to what we do here. And that's the only favor me and my team will ever ask of you. Thank you. Hello, this is Soromi. Welcome to Talks About You, a story about self. And the stories we tell ourselves have a way of quickly becoming our reality. And today's story is a story of power in itself, because she's a poet, a youth advocate, a writer, someone that continuously tells herself that she can use her voice to create meaningful and impactful conversations in the world. I'm talking about no other person than the beautiful Avi. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm great. I'm fine.
So these conversations are so important to us because we see what you do, and thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for having a voice in the world that needs it. What is the earliest context of you that we need to understand? If you like to take it back to the very beginning.
The earliest context of me, I'd say I was just a girl. Is that good enough?
Yeah, that's good enough. I know from my findings, you grew up in the northern side of Nigeria. You are
Yes.
from Kogi yourself,
Yeah.
to be precise. Igala, to be precise. Am I right? Yeah.
Full-blooded.
So what was it like growing up in the north? Those are the things I want to understand. What are those things there that impacted who you are now?
I think I'm glad that I grew up in the north because it's a little bit. Nigeria is a conservative country, but the north takes the conservativeness to takes it a little higher. Ladies are more reserved and more covered in a way where there's a societal standard for how both male and female are supposed to act. There's a societal expectation of women and men. When it comes to like growing to this level that I have grown, I think from a typical northern standpoint, it's not expected of me. This is open to
Debate.
because I've seen women in northern Nigeria that have gone so far and they're doing so amazing and so well. But it doesn't change the fact that because that is the um, socially acceptable thing in the north, makes it so, or makes the women so. It's just the standard that has influenced that kind of
Environment.
mindset, environment, and behavior. So most women from the north, not I'm not generalizing this, are expected to not aspire for too much, and the ultimate goal is marriage and settling down and having kids. And we're expected to rely more on the men to do the heavy lifting. But I think growing up in such environment helped me to realize what was missing. I've always had this thing in me. I always wanted more. I didn't know what it was, but I write and I do things that were not of the that does not go in line with the expectation of my immediate society at the time. And I think that helped me to want to, like, I don't want to use the word rebel, but go against what the societal norm was. And I think it made me who I am today. The whole point of going against what I am supposed to be, and becoming everything I am not supposed to be, is what made me who I am. So I'm grateful for the experience. It's not rosy, but I'm grateful.
So, what was the first time you left the North? I just wanted to take it a step forward just to understand the context.
I didn't travel much. I didn't do much. My parents are Muslim. I'm a girl. I'm supposed to be home. Class, I'm a round kid. Class, Islamia, home. There was just a circle. I think the first time I left my state, I left for Lagos. It was a train. I don't know if the trains are still working. It was a cheap train. I hopped on the train with my elder sister, and then we traveled all the way to Lagos.
What year was that?
That was, I think, around 2013. That was the first time I left Niger State to another state, and it was Lagos on a train. I think it took us 2 days to arrive, and we stayed in one of our cousins' place in Ajigule. She's one of those rebellious person too.
Hey, but I need while I was preparing for this, you went to Zaria University,
Yeah, ABU.
ABU. Why didn't you like? I mean, for me, like when I was looking for my higher education, I was just like, I needed to leave Lagos. I was born and brought up in Lagos. I just wanted to leave. Why did you want ABU when that was all you knew?
It was affordable. At the time, my school fees was
Yeah,
25,000 naira.
Most federal universities are affordable
It
though.
was the most affordable school that I could go to. I'm a girl. You can't come and start demanding the kind of school you want to go to. If I had my way, it's you I know.
So, okay, this is very interesting. Your advocacy, did it start from there? That you know, like, okay, this thing is a wrong that needs to change.
I think my advocacy started from there, but with me. But it was an unintentional thing. Before motive, before it became something that I could give name to, before I could call it advocacy, I didn't realize that was what it was called. I was just doing me. I wanted change for myself. I wanted more. I realized that I'm not of the, I don't want to say typical, because even the typical girls are people that actually have these thoughts but are not brave enough to even voice them and say them in conversation. They want more too, but because of the societal limitations, they shy away from allowing themselves dare to even want these things.
Yeah, to say it.
To even say it. You don't hear it in conversation. So, yes, that was my first step to advocacy, but it wasn't official. My unofficial advocacy at the time.
So I'm interested in when you started saying these things out, what were their reactions? Just your immediate environment. How were they reacting to you having the confidence to say these things out?
Change begins when you start to talk about it and you get other people to talk about it. As much as crazy as you will sound, you've planted a seed of possibility inside someone, and they'll go home and they will think about it. So my first attempt at advocacy or unofficial advocacy was with my friends. When we talk, why is it like this and why is it not like that? Why can't I do this and why can't I do that? And she'd be like, oh, me self, the reason I'm more like, why, like, I think because of I'm bold enough to ask those questions, she's also bold enough to like allow herself now to say, see, this thing you're saying is not entirely
feeling the same
wrong.
way
I'm
too.
feeling you, but she's like the voice of reason now. Like, this and this and this is why. And the why does not make sense, but that is how it is. And that is how we're supposed to just go with the flow. But I did not want to go with the flow. I feel like, is this all there is to my life? Is that all?
So after having the conversations with your friend, did you start asking elderly people around like, oh, okay, what's going on here?
I have a lot of older friends. Like, most of my friends are older than me.
Wow,
Most of
interesting.
my friends are older than me. And I talk a lot, so I have really, really long and extensive conversation. I would like to name drop. BM Zukogi is one of those men. It's so ironic that he's a Muslim, but he's someone that is so woke and so progressive even for his time, right? And he's someone that I've had those kind of conversations with, someone that has allowed a girl like myself to dare to make those kind of comments. And because he was someone that is respected in the community and someone that had a reputable reach, my unruly opinions were tolerated. I think he was one of my enablers in my immediate community.
In the early stages.
Yeah, in the early stages.
So how did you now, like, let's progress forward. How did you know, like, okay, this thing has started like unintended, but it's advocacy? When did you start to own it as a skill? Like, okay, I need to be a spoken word artist. I need to use my word for change.
Still through him, he and my friends, I got introduced to a foundation that he created where he brings young people to come and explore art. But the foundation was not created for advocacy or for rebelliousness. It was created for you to, if you're a creative, if you write, if you sing, whatever kind of creativity you do, was your safe space, the place you come to thrive, the place you come to share ideas. There are open mics, there are a lot of things going on. Hilltop Creative Art Foundation. Yes, that's the foundation. So I was one of the very many young creatives that started going there, exploring more. So we already had our talent, but that was like the practice ground, the first practice ground for me personally. I don't know about other people, but
where it was defined.
Yes. So when we have like Teen Auto Flash or activities like that, I will come up on stage and I will do my performances. So that was my first stage.
So how did you know, like, it's spoken word for me? Because these things are very, like, you know, as a young person, when we trying to look for what our talent is, we are just curious, trying different things. So how did you know that, okay, it's spoken word for me?
Funny story.
Please tell us.
I used to hate poetry.
Really?
Very sad thing for a poet to say, but I did like poetry. Even when I was an art student in my secondary school. There was commercial, there's art and sciences. I was art and we did literature, and inside literature we did poetry. The particular topic was the one I hated the most. I felt like I used to think that poets were pretentious people. Like I've never admitted that that I didn't like poetry from the onset. I started as a prose writer. I was a big fan of Chimamanda. I wanted to be like Chimamanda. Yes, fiction. I wrote a lot of fictions. I wrote a lot of stories. And most of those stories were handwritten. Even my first ever prize as a teen author was for a prose work, not for poetry.
Okay, your first prize for in poetry was in 2017 when you won the Youth Teen Artist of the Year.
And Nigerian Festival of Teen Artists, and I won Teen Artist of the Year. And I got awarded, my book got awarded 1,000 copies. Like, they were to publish the book. And I wrote it, I wrote prose. It was a story with a plot. It wasn't poetry. There was not even an element of poetry in it. But at the time, I was already doing poetry, but I didn't see it as my first. I saw it as a hobby. I delved into poetry, or more like I got initiated into poetry from my preteens to my teen, like 12, 13. And it's a work by Niyi Oshundare, Healing Without a Sword. I saw it in a textbook, a literature textbook, just lying around. I was cleaning and then I saw a poem. I don't like poems. It just felt like a cluster of plenty words that doesn't make any meaning. It doesn't hit me. I don't get the message. for someone that used to be a people pleaser, I read that poem and my first reaction was a hysterical laughter. It was hilarious. It felt like it spoke to me. It felt like he picked the word and wrote it for me. That was like I got called out from my behavior. Killing Without a Sword is actually a piece written for a classic description of a people pleaser that said, "I no do again. You're not going to kill me. Don't do." I think the last line, if I can remember, was, "Then my friend asked me to give him the moon. I stretched and stretched and stretched as far as I could get, but I never got to the moon. Today, I am sending a message to my friend that our worst enemy is he who sends us to pluck a fruit deliciously beyond our reach. There are many ways of killing without a sword."
Wow.
So that line just stuck. That was my way of saying, "I'll not do it again." So ever since, I think the poem also helped me to shape my character a little. My people pleasing started reducing small, because people ask for ridiculous things and expect you to just give because of entitlement. But the point remains that that poem struck a chord. I was like, oh, okay, so poems could be understandable. Oh, okay. Then I started looking for his poems, not poems. I started reading Nii Oshundare's work. From Nii Oshundare's work, I got hungry. And I started looking for more things till I spread across and started reading the Shakespeare and others were the kind of poems that were introduced to me. And I did not like it.
Because I think it's far-fetched from us.
Far-fetched. The imageries, everything wasn't relatable. But this is the first time that a poet used pounded yam and egusi, use like things I could relate to. So I think maybe poetry is not pretentious. It's just how it was introduced to me. They taught me the English poetry, the pastoral poetry, the romantic poetry. And no one taught me Nii Oshundare till I found it myself. So I think that's why I felt it was pretentious. It wasn't relatable. But now I've finally read poetry to the point where I delve into the English one and I'm more exposed to understand that they're writing from their geographical
point of
view. And it's relatable now because I know what those images are trying to picture. I've traveled like around the world, so I know it makes sense.
Yeah, we're going to get to you traveling around the world through the power of poetry. That's interesting. So these works that I came across and they kind of relate to our day-to-day life, did they influence the way you started writing out when you started?
The works I was exposed to?
Yes, like Nii Oshundaru, reading him very early, that I can actually use things that happen to us as African children, or African kids, or Africans in general to write his own work. Was that something that played in your mind every time you try to write your own work?
Of course, if you read someone for so long, they will influence you. You might even end up nearly sounding like them to a point. Right? My earlier works were so you could hear Nii Oshudare's voice in it.
I don't think we will. No, you're just thinking it.
Those are poems that they have never really been released. The ones that are released now, I feel like the ones that I feel like I actually own. Yeah. So most of I started even performing his pieces before I started performing mine. I will cram them. That is why I could say it offhand. I'll cram them and come up on stage, but I will give my credit. I'll say, oh, this piece was written by Nii Oshundare. As you listen, may be blessed. Then I'll start, and then I'll perform it. And then I realized that, oh, okay, I can write mine too. And then I started writing mine. But the point remains that his work heavily influenced me from the start. And that is why maybe my style is so easy to comprehend. I'm someone that advocates for not necessarily using unwarranted jargons to get the attention. It's not how big the word is. It's how skillful you're able to use the words. So, for example, this is very easy. Even a layman can understand this. Let me pick one of my lines. And it's something that I picked from Nii Oshundare, right? This is not his line. This is mine. But I'm saying that it's a method. It's a style I picked. Yeah. Where I said, very simple statement. Education is key. You know the statement, right?
Yeah.
But what good a key if there are no doors for the poor? Simple state. Any layman can understand that. But you can't hide the fact that I was very
intentional about the
intentional
message.
about my choice of the words and the placement. So you don't have to use sunken and one big word to seem important. So I think also that was what was my barrier for understanding or loving poetry. The words were standing in the way of the message for me. I have to keep it doesn't discredit the fact that okay, that works. Right now I understand those kind of words, so it doesn't matter how big or how lengthy the word is. If I read the poetry, I can still have an idea of what you are trying to tell me, right? But it took time for me to expand and study more. But the goal is to be able to talk to everyone. That is my goal because I'm advocating for a lot of things that are urgent, and I need to speak in the language that the people I'm trying to reach will understand. I want to speak to the layman. I'm not talking to the um, people of the lofty vocabulary. I'm talking to everyone, both the lofty, the layman, the lady in the market. I want her to hear me. So Niyi Oshunere influencing that comes from the point that his poem, even this one I read, you notice the words were very, very simple. You know what I was trying to say without even having to explain myself. Our worst enemy is he who sends a fruit to sends us to pluck a fruit. Fruit, a moon, deliciously beyond that, delicious. You know what these things are. So Niyi Oshunere is someone that also uses simple words to make to express complex situations.
And very impactful. Your work and his words, what I think they have in common is the impact they make. Just like this example you use about education. At the end of it, everybody knows what you're trying to say. Education is supposed to be the key that opens door for us. But if the door is not there, what's the essence of it?
You have a
That
key with no
impacts
door.
anybody
Anyone will get
on
it.
this on the point. So how do you make sure like the most important ingredient of it while keeping it simple is not missing? That's the impact. That's what I want to. Do you put the impact at the back of your mind while creating?
Whenever I want to write, it's not advisable, but the world I live in right now has conditioned me to write about to be highly political about my pieces, right? I am political. I'm just very artsy about it and very diplomatic. So most people do not really
I
know.
think that doesn't take away from your creativity.
There are very zealous and artistic people that will argue with you that okay, art is not supposed to have too much motive. My motive is my pieces are political in nature, and the reason is because I can't write about the beautiful meadows, and that is not my reality, right? There's a lot of issue going on right now, and they are urgent. I don't know who wrote that piece. She said um, for me to write about tranquil or something like that, the sound of the warplanes has to be quiet. And as long as the sound of the warplanes are noisy, I still have to keep writing about political poems, right? I'm complaining about the war because there's a war, right? I can't go and pretend that there's no war and say and talk about the peace of the sea. It's not my reality. So I'm writing about my reality. It's not intentional. I'm not trying to be political. I'm not really want to even get myself involved in politics. But I find myself in a situation where I have to do that.
I'm trying to explain the
Yeah, and I
essence
got
of how you
lost.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Keeping my impact in mind is that I know the message I want to pass across. Now, what I need to worry about is not worry, what I need to think about is the best way to communicate this message. I keep in mind the audience. I do research. There's a lot of research that goes on in the background. It's not just write a poem about sexual gender-based violence and then just write it down. I think of all the pros, the cons, what's really happening, the statistics, I do my homework. Then when I sit down with enough information and enough idea of the audience, my immediate audience, or the people I'm going to be meeting, if I know that, okay, I'm going to be at a high value dialogue in the front of the global leaders, or maybe it's at UNGA, United Nations General Assembly, I know the caliber of people that will be there, and I have an idea of how they think or their perspective or where they are coming from. Then I also read about what the event is about, so that no matter how I try to like talk about the message, I still narrow it down to the center theme. It's a whole work. It's not all art. It's not inspiration. I'm tapping from the transcendental realm or something like that. Yes, I am, but I did my homework.
Yeah.
Right? So I do my homework to put me in that position to say the right things. The words will come. I trust my brain and I trust God to allow the inspiration, but there's a lot of background work that happens. For example, my last performance in February, I was talking about children living with HIV and TB in underrepresented communities. And in 100% of people living with HIV, children makes up 100% of the people living with HIV. Children make 6% the population of people living with HIV globally, but they make 14% the death rate. That's ridiculous, right?
Why is it so fatal for them?
The reason is because somehow it has the organization have subconsciously prioritized adults. They are easy to see, easy to spot, easy to work with. Children in underrepresented communities some of them don't even know they are HIV positive. So now we have to bring this to light and tackle it.
But most of them are not even responsible. They live with the disease that they are not responsible
The
for.
parents might not even still know that or the parents might be taking drugs, but they're not sourcing for drugs for their kids because maybe the parent is someone that is hiding their status from their spouse. So now they are putting the life of their child in jeopardy. So all these little things are affecting why the death rate is ridiculous for that is small number, right? So while I was saying that, I think in my poem, I said I make 6% the population, but 14% the death rate until date. I'm still subject to this unfortunate fate. I don't find a way to put that inside, right? It's strategic.
You're not even calling it, but...
I'm saying I'm impersonating them. Yeah. So I think that's my work, my process.
I mean, that's detailed. For anybody that wants to do this, if they come across this, I think they have all the guys they need. Thank you for sharing that. So now I'd like to talk about one of your most important pieces, the girl in the English class. I like the way you smile. Like, I've listened to that a few number of times before this. Where did that come from? Where were you? Like, was it a work in progress like this, or it just came to you? I want to just understand that.
This one, I didn't do the homework like that. Honestly,
that's one of the best pieces.
It came from nowhere. I entered for a competition.
Okay.
And there was a title, Babel, a new language. We're supposed to write about the mother tongue and how it influences. There was a whole background to what we're supposed to write. So yes, there's still a homework, but I didn't do the homework. I knew the angle that a lot of people were going to come from, right? And I didn't want to do what everyone else will do. So I wanted to be honest. My honesty didn't get me what I wanted, but it got the attention that I wasn't expecting. I didn't win in that competition. I lost. But after we were done with the competition, I posted the video and then...
Twins.
I woke up in the morning. I had 2K followers and then I woke up and then, boom, 50. If I refresh, I'll see 10, 5K don't add, 10K don't add. Oh, what's going on? And boom, someone coming. Hey, Don Jazzy just reposted you. Oh my God, he posted another video. Oh my God, it's just crazy. Sorry, I'm getting excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's a piece of work you should get excited about.
Yeah, but there was no special story to it. There's no...
It was just you being authentic about your truth.
Yeah, but the story is the fact that I've lived a life. I grew up in also this underrepresented community I talk about. That's the kind of community I grew up in, right? Where there's this over glorification of the English language. Like it was, even the language is beaten out of you from childhood. So much that there's a portrayal of it that it's the superior language to your mother tongue. And if you spoke anything that wasn't, or if your accent wasn't polished enough, there's how you're even treated, right? It's still happening to today. Yes, there's a
society we live in.
It's happening today. People tend to treat you better when you have accent that is not typical to the Nigerian accent. It's a thing, right? So you catch yourself trying to sound a type of way to get some type of acceptance. But the fact still remains that no matter how English I make myself, I will never be an English person. And they will never accept me like my own people would accept me. I felt that from the borders. Whenever I'm going into their country, there is a serious scrutiny. But when I'm coming back home, yes, my country has its own lapses. It's a mess, but it's mine, right? When I'm coming back, I see that feeling where Nigerians here, and then I'm just entering. And then they are the ones with the other color of passport now are held back and they are scrutinized. That feeling of belonging can never be found anywhere. So there's no dignity in pretending to be something else that I'm not. There's no dignity in denying my identity. So that was the point. That I have an accent shouldn't affect how I'm treated. I've worked in school in an actors where there are lots of science kids that are gurus. They are so good. They create such innovative things. I don't even know how one guy was able to make shoe polish from plastic. I don't know how he did it, but he did it and it works and it's so good. And it's giving kiwi. And then, I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. Is it kiwi or kiwi?
Kiwi.
Whatever.
Yeah, I guess.
So, but during the nationals, they can't speak for themselves. They can't bring themselves to project their project.
Yeah.
So, are you going to say the guy is not smart enough because he doesn't have a good command of English language? People attach speaking English to being smart. Then what would you say about the Chinese?
And they rule the world right now.
Not all of them. When it comes to Industrial Revolution, right, they are
giants right now.
Yeah, but most of them prefer to use their language. Most of them have an accent. So if really English is the determinant for being smart, then the English should be ruling everything then. So it's not even a good argument, and it shouldn't affect how people are treated, both in Nigeria or in the whole of Africa or wherever in the world you are, because of your accent. So that I learned the language is good enough. I'm trying to be progressive. I'm trying to be a polyglot. I want integration. I want to work with other countries. I think me attempting to learn your language should be good enough for you to respect me. Respect that.
Thank you. There's a way you speak about everything in a positive light that marks the early rejections and failures that comes with doing what you do. How do you handle that?
The earlier rejections.
Yes.
I think it comes from a place of growth. For starters, I don't feel like anyone owes me anything.
Wow, powerful.
I don't feel entitled. I don't feel like, you should respect me or treat me some type of way or anything. I want my work to do the talking. So if I go to certain places, right, where certain rooms where I'm not necessarily like recognized yet, and I don't go around expecting to be recognized or hoping that, do you know who I am? I don't care if you know who I am, right? I came to do my thing and I'm going. I'm not some power hungry or attention seeking. I really don't care. People have fear of missing out. I have fear of being included. Honestly, I don't really care that much. Right? I think maybe it's coming from a place of, before I'm anything, I'm a writer. And most writers like their space. It's a writer thing. And then they have this inbuilt pride of not needing to
over-validate.
But I'm fighting that right now. I think it's because I remember where I'm coming from. Like, I've gotten 10 times what I could possibly dare to imagine as a girl, a black girl born in northern Nigeria. I'm 10 by now. If I
Can you say that again? That is powerful. Please say that again. You've gotten 10 times than what you could imagine being born in northern Nigeria. That's so powerful. It's in itself.
Yeah, I'm 10 times more than anything I could dare to imagine myself being. Right? I wasn't just a black girl born in northern Nigeria. I was a black poor girl born in northern Nigeria. It's not like maybe I was part of like the middle class or the higher class where I could get married to some alhaji, become a third wife and leave a...
So you have to belong to a certain class to be able to marry an alhaji.
So if I want to like give you an idea of my destiny, what should be my destiny, I should be married by now with a maybe 2 or 3 kids to a middle class or maybe like a broke person like myself, and I'll just be living a very, very mid and basic life, going from maybe I'll have a small shop somewhere, and then maybe I could see someone, a kid who got the opportunity doing what I'm doing right now, and I'll be living on past glories and making comments like, I used to write though. You won't believe me, but I used to write. I'll be telling them stories of my glory days. But too bad I got married and I have kids now and see how I'm living now. But that's how that would have been my life. But right now, I've done so much that sometimes it shocks me.
Speaking about that shock, one of the things you've done that resonated with me while I was preparing for this is you have this constant belief that your voice do matter. On the flip side, African kids and most people that grow up in this part of the world, we tend to believe that our voice doesn't count. Our voice is suppressed. How are you able to keep that belief of self that my voice do count and is going to make a change in this world?
Honestly, there are days I wake up and I feel like an imposter. Right? Thanks to some of my friends, I have honest conversations with them and they help to keep me uplifted. But there are days I wake up, I don't feel like
Your voice is what it is.
I
As
just feel,
powerful as your voice is.
yeah. Thanks. But what actually helps is that I go back and just check how far what I've been able to achieve. I am so persuasive. Like I am really, really persuasive. I don't know how I do it, but I'm able to say the right things to get the right reactions. I've been in rooms where I've like finally come to do my spoken words and I've gotten people in tears, people coming to make after they've cried and there was a like 5 minutes moment of silence for what I did, they come up on stage and make pledges and donations. My pieces have been able to do that.
For the whole community that you put on your back.
Yeah, like I've been able to influence people to take action right there and right now, like with urgency. So when I remember those experiences, it helps me to say, yes, it matters. At least one child or one girl has been able to go to school because of I was able to speak up for them or speak up for a whole community. And if I stop, I don't think like another child would. Someone said I've seen a comment, a kid, a small girl. She made a comment. She was like, "Harvey, I live through you. Like if Harvey can do it, I can. We came from the same state. Like I think she should be like 14 now, right? Harvey came from my state. Harvey can. If Harvey could do it, I can't do it. How I'm living in such a way that my success is needed to open the portal for the newer generations to come.
To validate their dreams. That
Yeah.
is valid.
So I don't even want to, right now, I'm living it. I'm walking my talk. Before I was talking it, I was complaining. Now, being able to live it has made it seem possible. So most of my friends are married. They have kids. It's an amazing thing. I genuinely want to marry too. I'm not the whole, I don't. So yeah, I look forward to getting married too. It's an achievement. It's beautiful. It's amazing.
Yeah, love is the most beautiful feeling we feel.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's part of life. It's all part of the process and everything. Being able to share your space, having something you leave behind when you go.
A legacy.
Yeah, so it's beautiful. But I'm saying that most of my friends that got married at an earlier age, right, have come to see that there is a possibility. So even though they didn't get to achieve those things due to their societal limitation, they have daughters now, right?
Their daughters can dream.
And they can dare to push their daughters to also dream, right? So in a way, nothing spoil.
Yeah.
So living my truth enables me to just living my truth is enough inspiration for a girl out there. Just coming to my page and scrolling and seeing what I've done, places I've been. Hafiz has done this. I want to do this. I tap into your grace. I want to be able to achieve this. Reminding myself that there are a lot of people that are hoping that I become even bigger than whatever I am now makes me want to strive harder, because that is also an unintentional way of inspiring a new generation to come.
Yeah, thank you. Speaking about how big you are, I want to touch on that subject matter real quick. Yeah, you are the youth ambassador for advocacy through the World Bank. You said something new has been added to it.
I think GPE,
Okay.
Global Partnership for Education, yes, they are in conjunction with World Bank, but we don't necessarily like to call it like a World Bank theme.
Okay.
It's
You guys like to be humble about it.
yeah, it's an organization that is created out of World
World
Bank.
Bank.
So you can call me Youth Act on Edu for World Bank,
Okay.
but when you want to call me Global Youth Leader, Global Partnership for Education.
Congratulations on that, and
Thank
more
you.
achievement to come. You've been able to appeal to this global audience, and knowing you carry a lot of culture on your back, like young people looking to you. Is there any conflict trying to balance both? That's where my next question is. Because now you know a lot of young girls come to your page. I want to go to these places that Havfy have been to. I want to do these things that I have done. But you know that you owe a huge responsibility to the global audience as much as you owe huge responsibility to these girls and these people that look up to you in your community. Is there any conflict, or how do you manage that?
There's a conflict though, even in like
Wow, interesting.
regular one-on-one conversations, not one-on-one. You never see me. My email is where is Havfy.
Okay.
It's gas. It's gas.
Okay.
I don't go anywhere. I don't do
Yeah,
anything.
it was hard for us to get you to. Thank you for coming. We know you don't go anywhere.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So on my story, there's this segment I do when I'm bored. Like whenever I'm like, I go to my hiatus and just stay for a while and not do anything. That's like my productive stage of getting data back. I just come on my Instagram and say, ask me anything. So I get people that ask, and then I see someone who say, oh, I'm from Nairobi. And I do not understand that your pidgin English that you use in your poetry sometimes. Can you find a way to like do translated versions or stuff like that? Right? I don't know if that's the angle you're coming from.
Yeah, just the global audience. How did
Yeah,
you appeal
so
to them too?
somehow I find a way to create a neutral piece that can resonate with. It's not fair. Sometimes I have to still come back to my Ninja vibes because there's no way you can tell that thing without putting the.
We are the future, so you have to represent always.
I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
we are the future. There are data showing that by 2050, we, China and India, are going to be the biggest producer of workforce in the world. So we are the future.
Nigeria is a big sensation in whatever industry you think about it. We're everywhere. We're everywhere. That's amazing. Okay, yeah. So I make an intention without standing in the way of my creativity, Sha. I still try to create pieces that anybody from any walks of life, from anywhere in the world, of any language, if translated to them, can relate because of my choice of words. It still boils down to using Ni Yoshidare's approach, where I use everyday languages, everyday vocabulary to communicate my message. If you listen to even the girl in English class, you can tell that even though you're from Nairobi or you speak Swahili, for example,
Yeah,
if it's translated to Swahili,
relate to
you can
it.
still relate to it because the same word, same thing, right? So that's an intentional way to be able to tackle that. But at the same time, I still battle with keeping my my Nigerianness intact while I am interfacing with a lot of cultures. It's like some people. I don't smooth they go, but I'll still come out. No great. So every once in a while I will drop pieces like to my village people. So that I want to remind everyone that,
She's authentically part of us.
but I'm still Nigerian and I'm proud. Like I'm really proud.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud. I don't want to be from any other country, so I keep saying it. I've been around the world. I
Say this
think
to
Nigeria, it is. We have our days, we have our ways.
If I
but
wasn't Nigerian, I'd be jealous.
yes, everybody's jealous of
I'd
us.
be jealous. I love you, Nigerian.
Yes, our divided unity is one of the best things about us. So, looking at everything you've achieved, looking at how far you've come, and thank you for breaking your journey down in the way you have done today. It means the world to me and my team. What are you looking to leave in terms of legacy? Looking at everything that is in front, looking forward, what do you think you want to leave in terms of legacy?
The first time I was asked this question was on another interview. And at the time, I have not defined it yet. It's still evolving. my answer might be different in maybe in 5 years or in 10 years.
Growth is a continuous process.
Yes. At the time, I did not know what to say because fell asleep this night and I woke up the next morning. I had followership. I didn't know I was supposed to. I didn't think of legacies. I wasn't thinking of anything. I was thinking of husband and other things. Like
Everything is going to come.
Yeah, but after that interview, it helped me to like strengthen my why and my core, right? Poetry has existed for years. It's as old as literature itself. Before it became written, it was oral. Poetry has been a part of our life. Even as Nigerians, right? We have elements of poetry in our everyday conversations. We are very, very poetic people. Go to our comment section. Those people are creative, very creative people. So yeah, but poetry is not as celebrated as other forms of art in Nigeria and even in the world at large.
Why do you think that?
It's not what I think, it's what I know. It's an open
No,
secret.
I said, why do you think that is a fact? I know it's a fact. I'm just asking you why. What is responsible? Why poetry is not celebrated the way it should be?
I feel like there's no reading culture. Spoken word has made people go back to poetry. People don't go to bookshops to buy poem books. People buy a lot of fictional books or self-help books, but not poetry. Not everyone. The audience for buying poetry is very, very small. But I can say that today, if I publish a book, because of familiarity, it's heavy, I'm going to get numbers. I'm going to get people that buy. And I think inside the 100 people that will buy, let's say maybe it's like 30% that will actually read that book and read it the way it should be read. The 70% will buy it for the hype. I just want to own a Havfy book. I have one of Havfy's copy for the hype. Which is why I have not released the book till today. Right? Most of my works are on streaming platforms and on and in videos as visuals. I've not released the book. It's an intentional thing. Most people say, release a book. Maybe when it finally hit my brain, I will, but it's intentional. And this intentionality goes back to the legacy I'm trying to leave. Take it from how I'm even dressed today. Do I look like a poet? Is there even a poet look?
No, you look like a fashionista.
Thank you very much. It's intentional. Poetry, I want poetry to be celebrated or to be approached like how music and other forms of art are celebrated.
Wow, that's bold. I love that.
Yeah. I want poetry to have an industry. We are big. We have a community, but I don't think we have an industry yet. Also, I'm also a member of the Grammys Recording Academy, right? And recently, 2 years ago, before the 66th Grammys, February, JIV and a couple of other people advocated to have spoken word poetry be a category.
In the Grammy?
Yes, and now spoken word poetry is a category in Grammy and also a genre on streaming platform. If you go under you will not see music or recording or podcast. You see spoken word.
Wow.
Yes. So it's an intentional thing. I want poetry to be
as big and beautiful as
yes, I want people to aspire to be poets and not have to rely on being yes, advocacy will always be part of it. But I'm seeing musicians also. Selena Gomez, for example, has collaborated with UNICEF a couple of times. There's the Rare Fund. So she sings. She's glamorized, right? But I want to go against the stereotype that poets are not supposed to go for the celebrated form of life. When someone says, "What do you do?" and you say, "I'm a singer," it's easy to swallow. Yeah. When someone says, "What do you do for a living?" and you say, "You're a poet,"
they start to wonder where the money is coming from. I get your point.
Even now, people are still wondering, like, she's doing all these things, traveling around, dressing like this, carrying so things. How is she able to afford this? Now, the poetry that they used to give her money. Yes, it's the poetry. Poetry is all I do. It's my life. That's the only thing I do. I just graduated in January, so I'm not employed. Right? Poetry is all I do. Poetry is what brings all of this. Poetry is what funds my video, funds everything. It's poetry.
You want to leave it as a legacy for
and
people.
I want to create a possibility. I want even to create, like, I want it to have like an industry where it's even competitive. Even in music, there is competition. I'm not going to call names, but you see people that are being, oh, this is the greatest. No, he's the. I want that. That is what makes an industry: the competition, the gossip. I know that writing is not necessarily ever going to be as the same as music and everything, but I want it to be an industry, to a thriving industry where a child maybe in 10 or 20 years can say, I'm a poet, and be like, yes, you guys are the big guys now. I know that you Nande or Monidi now, or something like that.
And you can be like, yeah, we labored for this industry to be there.
Like a record label where you sign poets and not just music. I want record label to have the mind to sign poets. Let me even bust your head. The time I got to visit Don Jazzy, like I got to meet him in person. I think there was a lady that was in the room. I don't know her name. She's a very familiar person. She's big too. Someone around Don Jazzy space, you know, is big now. And Don Jazzy like just jokingly said, see this one, won't you want to like manage her or something? Like he was trying to pitch me to her, and then she came from a very honest place, which was amazing. Very, very honest. She said that, I think if I can remember, I'm trying to paraphrase. I can't say word for word what she said, but what she was insinuating is that she does not know the market. She's not going to go and hop on something she does not understand. You have to understand what you are managing
for it to work.
And in all honesty, she does not know the industry. She does not know how it works. She does not know what sells. She's not going to hop on something or bank on something that will be at a detriment of even her and the artist that she's going to be in charge of. So I want to be able to do it to the point where someone will be bold enough to say, oh, this is giving her view. I think I can sign this one. I want it to be possible.
Talking about possibility and just the way you put your words together, do you understand the markets now? When you look at it in Nigeria, do you think there are data to support and prove that the market is going to eventually always go bigger and bigger?
I'm going to name drop now.
Okay.
There's Alhan Islam.
Yeah.
She's now the latest and the first ever to get that position. What's it called? United Nations Advocate for Peace. Alhan is big, very big. And she's been able to do all of this still through poetry. Then there's Ivy Quake, right?
Yeah.
She's big. Yes. She's doing so amazing.
Yeah.
Right? And then now there's me, and then there's a couple of other people I'm seeing, and we have a community. We know ourselves. Like, we chat, we have conversations. But the facts remains that people see poetry or spoken word as one type of contemporary art.
One time thing.
Yes.
Only when you need it.
Yes.
Maybe when we want to have a gala, we can bring them in. It's not like a niche that needs to be.
I want it to be a celebrated thing. I want it to have it like there be like a concert where there's a choir and a coalition of artists on stage, and then the poetry is why they came. Sometimes also there's that issue of where poetry is somewhat conjoined into religion. There are people in my comment section that call me Minister Havfy, Minister Hafsat, right? Because somehow my poetry is something that is giving preaching. It's like I'm preaching, right? But I'm not a preacher. I don't think I have enough anointing to pretend that I'm that. Then I'll be an imposter. I'm telling you that I might open church and people will come.
Yeah, because I think everything that has to do with hope in Nigerian ourselves, we are people of hope.
I want to detach that. I want a poet to be a poet and don't have to rely on
hope.
No, not hope. Not hope. Hope is not the word. Hope is what is another thing that we're doing with poetry.
Yeah.
A singer does not have to be a minister to excel. A singer does not have to rely on their community of maybe their church or their religion to
thrive.
Yes, mark my word, this sounds ridiculous, but it will happen. Write this day down, write down somewhere. Before I leave this world, I want to make poetry so big so amazing that people would strive to want to be it. Poetry, I don't want spoken word to be a hobby. I want it to be a career. I want it to be someone that someone strives to be doing. There's run. They look for that big shot that will sign them so that they will be the big short poets. I want it to be something big. And what validated that dream was when the Grammys agreed to have it as a genre on its own that could win a Grammy. It never existed. And now, even the streaming platforms followed suit.
When did all this happen?
2 years. Sooner or later, you see that I was at the Headies recently, right? I didn't get the time to have a conversation with Mr. Ayo, right? But he was very receptive. Everything was nice. I was at the US consulate. But the Headies inviting a poet to their event, and not just the main event, the nominee party at the US consulate is maybe his own way of even trying to explore that space and integrate, right? I strongly believe that a lot of all of this other MTV, all these other award platforms
Organizers.
will start to follow suit gradually, and it will become a thing, right? Even in movies, I'm seeing poets. I've played a cameo in a movie where I did poetry and I was a poet and I played myself. And I've seen movies where kids also do poetry. It's spreading, it's growing, it's becoming a thing. But I don't want it to be the thing that people want it to be. I want it to be celebrated.
Yeah, I like the way you put it, and you are very clear about purpose and clear about the things you want to leave behind as legacy. But do you think the only problem I think with that when I think about it is just like when most people like execs, you know what I'm talking about, when they look at things, they're always going to look at how do we monetize this thing? That's what comes to mind first. You know, music now, they are able to say, okay, we're going to make you a star because they have a way to monetize whatever.
There's a template, there's a standard that works, which is exactly what that lady said. That there's no standard, there's no
template in terms of how to get the money back, how to recoup
now,
it.
this is the creation of the template. I want to be one of the very
Pioneers.
few people. So that when they are calling those names, when poetry, when spoken word have existed, maybe today, there's a lot of pioneers. Someone like JIV, someone like, what's her name? Flow Cyst. These are big time people. Someone like Kanye, during the underground bars. Those people, they were once poets before they became rappers. More talk true. Right? Only that people don't dig up enough to know these things, right? It existed, it has always existed. But people expect us to be alternative rap. There's even alternative rap and there's no spoken word, right? But you can't deny the fact that this thing we do does something to people. It has an audience. And yes, the question about being able to monetize it, sure, I've not been able to monetize it.
You have been able to, but it's not
It's not on the grand scale. It's not as grand as a singer will, but it's something that you are doing test run. What we are doing right now is it's test running. It's like we don't give them a taste. Now we still want to see how we can. We are all experimenting at this point. There's no template. There's no standard. There's no how to do it for poetry. Unlike music, right? So we are creating the house to do it. So there's no how. But aside that, when it comes to my core as a human being and as an individual, aside my poetry, because you asked what legacy I want to leave with my career as a poet, and I narrowed that down. Okay. But generally, as a human being, right, I want a gender equitable world, and I want to live to play a very, very active role in that. There are lots of SDGs, right? But 3 of the SDGs that I'm very active about is SDG 1, SDG 4, and SDG 5. And I believe that SDG 4 is the only way to achieve 1 and 5. 5 is gender equality. 1 is poverty, right? And 4 is education. Education is the foundation to any progressive society. Because even when you look at maybe health let's say look at HIV. What kills people is not
HIV
is the stigma.
It's the lack
And
of
what
knowledge.
causes stigma? Ignorance, right? Ignorance is the problem of the society. So I want to see to it that I'm one of the active contributors and participants. I want to be at the forefront of this. And I think I've been able to, I'm on the process. I found my way into being the global youth leader for education. And from there, I'm hoping to still do more. I've made my pledges and I still want to work as hard as I can to, in whatever way, I'll use my talent, my skill, my connections, anything to ensure that at least it has been curbed. It might not end in my time, but it has been curbed to a very, very ridiculous level.
The impact is felt.
Yeah.
Talking about impact being felt, you clear on legacy, you clear on purpose. Is there any future collaborations you're looking forward to in terms to make these things happen? There's a story about yourself. I like the way you clear about your story. It's defined. And thank you for sharing it.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, you're welcome. So is there any future collaborations that you're looking to make this happen?
Future collaborations with brands, organizations, or
Majorly, let's say, like, hopefully people that you need to, in terms of the poetry first, in terms of owning it, people you look to collaborate with. I know, like, you're not looking, like, when I listen to your stuff, I feel like, some artist comes to my mind, like, if an artist is on this, he's going to take it to a whole new level.
if you rap, I've heard people say, if you rap, I can rap, but I don't want to. I want the poetry to be the reason. Other people can carry my lines. It's in public domain, right? You go ahead, carry my lines and
you don't mind.
Use it to rap. Well, the fact remains that it was once spoken word. Because if I dive into
collaborating and doing all this other stuff,
rap, for example, and then I dive into hip hop, I might just go into it and leave the poetry behind. And then the goal has been misplaced. And maybe in another 70 years before another person will decide that, okay, let's make this thing a thing again. And then I'm too old and too rickety to care. Right? So that is why I stay away from rapping. It's not because I can't. I can rap if I want to. But no, I will not.
All right, thank you so much for doing this with us. So we have like a way we like to end the podcast most of the time. My last guest do leave a question for my next guest without knowing who they are leaving the question for. So I'm about to read the question that was left for you. So the question that was left for you is, what is your greatest achievement? And do you see yourself getting more people with you in your field?
Getting more people with me in my field? My greatest achievement? No, that sounds like a simple question, but wow.
It's very difficult to answer.
I'm not weighing them. So I really do not know which is the greatest or which is not. I've had so much happen to me like so fast that I can't put my finger exactly what I would term as the greatest. But I think so far what has so much emotional, like what threw me off the most lately, a lot of things have thrown me off, like waking up to hundreds of thousands of followers from the night before changed my life, so that threw me off too. But what actually, my most recent one was becoming the global youth leader for education. And I needed to take a step back and be like, what? Global? It's not constituent to global. Wow. How do what am I supposed to do? How do people that were once this thing, what do they do? I know I'm not the only one. There's a number of other global youth leaders like myself, so it makes it easier. We have a group, we converse, we learn from each other, we have interactive sessions, we go on Zoom calls and everything. But I think lately, not generally, that is one of my greatest achievements. And my hope is that I do not waste this opportunity and I use it to actually impact a lot of people during my time with this appointment. So it means a lot to me. And the other question was if I look forward to
bringing more people in your field. You've answered that a couple of times already.
I'm in touch with literally everyone. Even though I have not collaborated with them, we are chatting. We know ourselves. Like, they, you know me, I know you. We see ourselves and we're happy for it. We chat. So, yeah, I'm already doing that.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm looking forward to it.
All right, thank you for doing this. So this is a place where we have a handwritten note for you and a box for you. And we do like you to read out your note on set while with us. Thank you.